Let's bring in retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis. He's a senior fellow and military expert at Defense Priorities, host of the Daniel Davis Deep Dive. Good to have you back with us again. We know repeatedly the Defense Secretary was asked what could be the timeline here. He said, I'm never going to hang a time frame. We heard General Kane say that this was not a single overnight operation. It's going to take some time to achieve, describing the difficult and gritty work ahead. But at the same time, President Trump has been fielding calls from reporters and has said this operation could take as much as 4 weeks. What do you think, based on what we heard in that news conference there and what we've learned over the last several days, is the most realistic timeline?
Well, listen, I mean, probably the best example that you can take, the most recent one, is look at the Houthis. Look at what we tried to do to get the Red Sea open down there. And we said we were going to, shut them down. This is in 2025. We're going to just knock them out so they can't stop the Red Sea shipping going on, et cetera. And yet after 7 weeks, we weren't able to. We were trying to knock out their mobile launchers. There was a lot of strikes inside Yemen against them, but they remained viable. That is almost certainly the Iranian plan. You got to understand, they knew this was coming, and they've been knowing for decades. They've been preparing for this. They have extensive underground facilities. The IRGC released another video today that showed graphically this just scores and actually hundreds of drones, of missiles, of underground facilities, huge complexes that are scattered throughout the country. All they have to do, this is one of the important things to understand. You heard Secretary of Hexeth and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff lay out the strategy. But on the other side, the Iranian side, their strategy basically is they have to survive, like the Houthis did, like the Taliban did. They have to just, even like Hamas has done, they just have to survive and drag this thing out, because we can't accomplish our objectives. I'll just tell you, if the Iranian side don't collapse their government, they can survive a long time, a lot more than 4 weeks. And all they have to do is just keep on firing missiles, keep on firing drones. And what it appears, and it's early, but what it appears to me is that they're saying, we're going to continue to fire our worst missiles. And we've seen the physical effects of some of that, and a lot of drones to soak up a lot of these air defense missiles that we have, because that's our Achilles heel. How many air defense missiles do we have? And if you soak up a lot of those with some of the slower moving weapons and some of the older missiles, and then when the stockpiles get low, then they bring out their better stuff, and it appears they have withheld their better stuff, we could be in for a world of hurt. So I think it's a little premature to say that this is only going to take 3 or 4 weeks, because Iran could be very well positioned to drag this out a long time. And I'll just repeat, without a ground component, I don't know how we accomplish the mission that the Secretary of State or Defense just mentioned.
Danny, you wrote that in an X post that the goals of this war are impossible to achieve without a ground force. Notably, that is something that the Secretary of War did not rule out, though he did not say that that is part of the plan at all. Walk us through your case here. Why is it that in order to achieve these stated goals, a ground force would be necessary, and what does that ultimately look like?
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the 2003 Iraq War. That's the one that's your sample here. We had maybe a little bit more air power and naval power than we have here, but something commensurate with it. Well, we could say we're going to topple the Iranian government, and then we're going to go in on the ground to validate it. But when President Trump says here that all the IRGC, the police, everybody has to surrender or you'll face certain death, but you don't have a ground force to make good on that, then that means that you have to have a profound number of missiles to literally destroy the country. And listen, it's 4 times larger, physically spread out, than Iraq was. So where do we have that kind of inventories of missiles to literally just wipe out this country? The objectives are just too expansive for the resources that we have, especially absent a ground force. And believe me, I am not advocating a ground force at all. That would be, I mean, again, 4 times larger than Iraq. So I don't know where you're going to get this force. It would take months to get a force of that kind of size to go up there. And even then, I don't know that it could succeed, because it's a country of 90 million people. So altogether, all you have to do is survive. I mean, look what the Taliban did. Look what Hamas did. Look what Hezbollah has done. They're still viable even after all the attacks that they've had. And the idea that Iran is going to succumb in a matter of weeks when none of those others have just doesn't seem very likely to me.
Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis, appreciate your time and expertise again this morning. Thank you so much.